Not bad. I actually cut a piece of it off. Now that was a beautiful drop cut. I didn't throw the orange in the air. I dropped it and grew fast enough to cut the orange in half. The way that works is basically I'm drawing fast enough, my hand's coming down, and the blade comes out smooth enough and quick enough to the curvature, the shape of the blade. And that is one of the beautiful things about the katana, and I do love that. The speed of the draw, it was a quick draw weapon, much like the 6-shooter of the Old West. I've got a video that we are going to be putting out right now that is comparing the longsword to the katana. Now, is this a comparison I would normally do that I would think is fair? Not necessarily, but I was asked by Chuck Parade, Zombie Go Boom, who's having a lot of problems over there with his content because the boycott that they have going on at the moment, and the filters are keeping a lot of people who have what they consider violent material or family-unfriendly material from getting certain advertisements, and then other people are just outright not putting advertisements up at all due to this boycott and some stuff that's going on. If anybody wants to look into that, you can look that up. But I appreciate anybody who spent $1 on our Patreon and got to see this video early. But this video is going to be finished out, released on the channel with extra content and stuff the way I wanted it to be released. Also, Martin Oz Ostwick over at English Martial Arts actually said that we should all do a collaboration, and all the channels that we all are in a group now together with should release a katana versus longsword. Get into my comparison and why I don't think it's completely fair. Compare the katana to the longsword. Well, the first thing I would like to say about it, the katana compared to the longsword, as you can see them setting here at an equal level side by side, is way shorter. The handle, the hilt is extremely long on the katana. It has no counterbalance and it's blade heavy. So what ends up happening is you get a blade you can draw quickly. It's a curved blade and it's a single bevel. If you look at the blade, it's a beautiful design. It's a back sword. That allows it to cut very effectively, and that's what it is. It's a cutter. This sword is designed to cut. And against samurai armor, that makes total sense. You have so much stuff you can actually cut. You can cut the cords on the actual sode, you can cut cords on the, you can literally sunder his armor and cut into it and then cut again and possibly hit the guy. There's lots of openings and niches. It's not very hard to fight against. It's not like fighting full plate later century. So I don't think the sword needed to evolve much. It had to be used in civilian circumstances, kind of like the handgun in the Old West. So you could draw it quickly and fast with Aijitsu or Aido, and the blade reflects that. I mean, that's the shorter length. This is a longer one here. The hilt's a little bit longer, not by much. The blade's a little bit longer. But as you can see, I mean, that's the primary thing about it. It's a quick draw weapon. It's great if you're trying to go to your backup from your Yari or in that type of situation in battle. This would be the last resort. This should be compared to something like an arming sword, a knightly sword, or a Viking sword.
Oh, nice.
Come look at how clean a cut that was. That is beautiful.
Ah! Ah! Yeah!
Arming sword or longsword could not cut through ice. And if anybody watches this, you can obviously see that it looks like a cut just like the katana did. I don't think it should be compared to a sword like this. Because let's look at this. This falls in the category of a longsword. This is a claymore. This blade, the only thing that keeps it from being in the pure category of a longsword is its weight. This one weighs about 6.1 pounds. This katana here weighs a little under 3 pounds. So if you compare them, the hilt's almost the same length if you really compare it properly.
Ah!
I would say it killed one person and it went into the other. Let's see. Ah! I would say we got it. But it has way more hand protection. The longsword has a cruciform guard at the least. Sometimes it has side rings, sometimes it has swept hilts, sometimes it even has a basket hilt late century. And they existed anywhere, this sword existed anywhere from the 14th century up to the 16th century in its prevalent time. But if you want to stretch it, you could go all the way from the 13th century to the 17th century. So you look at these swords, then yes, it's not a fair comparison. And the longsword, let's explain this one quickly, is a hand and a half or a two-handed sword. So this sword here falls in the same category. Get a hold of them here. They fall in the same category. If you look, this one's 34 inches. This is about 29 inches. Close, not quite. So you compare them, it's about 28 3/4 inches or so compared to 34 inches. Yeah, a long sword, even though these are cutter types, both these swords I have are for cutting, this one will cut better than the katana because it's got more weight. Ah! Oh gosh.
I think that's absolutely the closest we've ever gotten to a full split of it. That's closest to the style partisan right there.
Oh, most certainly. This man is dead. Look at that. All the way through the skull into the spine. We started cleaving into the actual jaw. It's separated. It cracked it. It's almost a complete in twain. This is not a, this is chopping the head in twain. And it's gonna fall. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't think we have much more of a head here. Might be harder to recovery, but it has a double edge. The thing about the shape, the Spatha style blade, is it's great for thrusting. It's not quite as rigid. Oh! Oh!
And that was just a short little stick like you'd get in an actual fight, not anything wound up or telegraphed. Like,
Ha ha ha!
did I get it?
You made it through, but I don't think you ruptured the bottle. Let's analyze it.
That's a good
Well,
idea.
the thrust was better than the katana. I didn't even expect that. I figured since the rigidity, they'd be real close to the same. We might have a hole in it. We might have a hole. We do. He made it in. Grant you, not very deep. He made it through 32 layers with that. The double edge and the straight sword, even though it has more flex to it and not as rigid as the katana, made it in. But it also has two edges, so you can cut with both sides. Ugh. And everybody says the back edge can't cut with a cast style blow. Now I know I was stepping. I would say they don't know what they're talking about. Ah!
Nice.
But yeah, this is our best skull cleave ever. We went into the skull. It's hard to see here. You might have to come around. And yes, we have blood running out. That is nasty. And the stylized forms of a longsword, what most people think of is like the 15th, 16th century longsword, are very tapered. And these very tapered blades are great for dueling. They're lighter weight, so they can weigh 2.5 pounds. Or they could go all the way up to 4 pounds. So the katana, in its weight range from 2.4 to about 3 pounds, is nowhere in the same category, the same reach.
Yes! Did you get it?
Yes, I did.
All three.
First time we've done that. Our pedestal lost its
Rigidity.
rigidity in the middle of it, but we still made it through all three. It's like it caused a little extra tearing because of that, but still made it through. Well, I certainly think he would have lost his arm, just like in the movie.
Oh, that's a dead orc.
Now that is how I would handle it. But as everybody knows, we know how we know how Aragon did. I think the sword performed excellent. Bastard sword. Nice Langen sword, a long sword.
Very much like a later century with a lot of heft.
You would have to go into like tachis, or old katana, or otachi, or onodachi is another name for that. So when you start getting into those blades, that's what I would probably compare to these type of swords here. I wouldn't compare the katana. The katana, although it's used two-handed, is very much just a arming sword, in my opinion. It does have more control and speed due to it being used two-handed, which was fine for the Japanese because their armor was set up where their armor was pretty much their shield. And against the armor they were using, it was still a relevant weapon. But for the Europeans, their swords changed because all you could do is thrust into niches. You had to fight with it in a different way. You almost used it like a sharp polearm or something, the longsword when you were in armored combat. So due to the stylized techniques for armor and being able to half sword with it, hit with the pommel, hit with the quillions, use it like a club pretty much if you had to, use it like a blade against people who were wearing lighter armor, being able to thrust with it, using it in civilian situations, and the various designs you can get between these two extremes. I have to say that the longsword is superior in every way to the katana when it comes to advantages that you can gain from it. But not every single longsword would have the same advantages because they're different variations, and it's a category. It's a modern category that wasn't used historically. As for the katana, it's pretty much been that way around the 14th century up. The katana has been the katana. So if we look at it from that standpoint, then yeah, it's not really a fair comparison, and I would go with the longsword over the katana.
Yeah!
Right here.
Right there, let's see what we hit.
You're running on rubber. Possibly. I'm looking for a cut. We knocked it right back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit it right on the tip. I think I hit it right on the tip, but that rubber is pretty tough stuff. Have you seen any scoring on it? Yeah, right across the center.
I think that stuff is harder than some of the armor we wear.
Look at that. You can see
so lightweight.
You can see the line right there.